Welcome back, everyone. Many of you are really aware of the relationship that we have with Glens Falls Hospital, and in particular, my relationship with Ray Agnew, who's Vice President of Hospital and Community Engagement. We couldn't let the week go by, given all of the news about the Delta variant, without having an expert like Ray join us to try to give us an update on an awful lot of shifting information and misinformation. So Ray, thank you for taking the time on a Friday. I think you're officially on vacation, my friend.
I am.
Did you ever
My
think
pleasure.
so you never
Thanks
thought you'd
for
be seeing me on your vacation, did you now?
definitely not.
Hey, let's jump right into it. The Delta variant has now become the predominant variant, and as opposed to what you commonly hear as the ancestral variant, which is the original variant. I've got a whole list here, Ray, that I want to get through. You hear the term breakthrough cases. What does that mean?
It's fairly simple. It means that a breakthrough case is a case of positive COVID-19 diagnosis in someone who has been vaccinated. So it's broken through the vaccine and made them ill.
Yeah, got it. Now, I mentioned that the Delta variant has become the dominant variant in the country, and now you're starting to see a heat map of the country. It does show that people who are unvaccinated are the most vulnerable to getting the Delta variant. Is that true? And if so,
Absolutely
why?
true. Yeah, all of the vaccines are effective at preventing the disease and or reducing the severity and reducing the likelihood of hospitalization across the board. The Delta variant is more difficult, and all of the vaccines are effective, but less effective at preventing the disease, but still effective at preventing serious disease and hospitalization. So the Delta variant is very dangerous. If you haven't been vaccinated, you should get vaccinated because it will definitely help protect you against this very dangerous variant.
The two things we always hear: much more contagious, much more severe. And judging from what you just said, that sounds to be true, right?
Yeah, we need to be vigilant and we need to be respectful of the fact that this is a difficult mutation. And we need to take every precaution that we can. We need to continue to wear masks in situations where we're not sure about what's those around us, whether they've been vaccinated or who they've been exposed to. And I just can't say it enough. If you haven't been vaccinated, it's not about politics. It's about the right thing to do and protecting yourself and the people you love. You need to get vaccinated.
I've got it. I know from our original conversations about this, what were the most vulnerable sectors of our population. So I'm sure that a lot of that still holds true in terms of the people over 60 years old, people with immune deficiencies and the like. But since I think it was like I read 99% of the new cases are from people who are not vaccinated. So as a whole, if you're not vaccinated, you are part of that vulnerable sector.
That's true. And just to clarify, it's 99% of deaths, not 99% of those who are getting sick. So 99% of the deaths are among those who have not been vaccinated.
Heard something about it being as contagious as chickenpox.
Unfortunately, that's true. Chickenpox, as we know, is very contagious.
You know, sometimes I think to myself, Ray, that it's important to make a comparison like that because people will understand. There seems to be a lot of misinformation about this out there, and it, unlike something where I think that people would say, "Oh, chickenpox! I've heard of chickenpox. Oh my God, that was devastating." You know, maybe that they will start to appreciate the fact that if we are vaccinated, that it really does at least hamper the progress of this Delta variant. And I even heard this morning that there might be another variant on its way as well.
Well, the thing about viruses in general, and this virus is no different, in fact, it may be smarter than some of them, is that as it replicates, it mutates constantly. and its programming is such that it is looking for ways to defeat what's in its way. And so as it starts to encounter people who are vaccinated, it continues to build in its own structure ways to get around the vaccine. That's why it's so important that more and more people get vaccinated, because the more people who are vaccinated, the better chance we have of getting closer to that whole concept of herd immunity. But we're nowhere close to that right now.
No, unfortunately, we're not. You hear things about the effectiveness of the vaccines, and I would just off the top of my head, I would think it would be Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Johnson and Johnson. Sometimes you hear it looks like we're going to need booster shots. What's the latest information on that?
Well, the only information that we have right now is limited. The only information that I have seen comes from an internal study done by Pfizer BioNTech that they reported at an earnings meeting earlier this week, that a booster can be effective in adding protection, but it has not been peer reviewed, and there needs to be more research at this point. So what we have is an internal study from Pfizer saying that they believe that a booster will be effective, but there is no real proof of that yet at this point. The conventional wisdom, if you will, out there is that getting the 2 shots of most of these, or the 1 Johnson and Johnson, is certainly not a permanent vaccination, but we certainly don't know for sure at this time how long it will be effective and when a booster is going to be needed. So there's a lot of work happening there. Obviously, Pfizer feels that they're on the right track. They've done great work in the past, both in the United States, Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, very, very quickly, and very good work. So I don't have reason to doubt them, but at the same time, I rely on our scientists to tell us what's going on, and our scientists and our physicians are telling me that more study has to be done at this point to be absolutely certain about that.
Now, we've seen I referred to the heat map before, right? When you look at it, New York State and upstate New York in particular seem to be very low in terms of severity. However, I think you and I got the same information today that Warren County is moved from the low level into the moderate level. What are some of the guidelines that you feel that, given that information, or just in general, Ray, what do you think are some of the steps that we should be taking just to ensure safety for ourselves, for our children, and for each other?
Sure. So that classification, moving from low to moderate, is the transmission rate that we're seeing in the county. And again, and you're right, in upstate New York, our neighbors to the west in Hamilton County continue to have very, very low transmission rates. And our other neighboring counties are in that low range and haven't tweaked up into moderate as of yet. But there's no doubt that people have somewhat let their guard down, and I think that that's what's happening here. In addition to the variant being out there, people are starting to let their guard down, and the mask mandate is no longer a mandate. You see signs going into Cumberland Farms, for example, that say, here's our policy. If you've been vaccinated, feel free to not wear a mask. If you haven't been vaccinated, please wear your mask. Well, no one's asking anybody that's coming into these stores, are you vaccinated or not? There's no proof needed. And I don't know what your experience is, but my experience around the region is mostly I'm not seeing anybody wearing a mask anymore. And we know that our vaccination rate up here is good, but it's not 100%. So I think that people need to remain vigilant, and for our friends and neighbors who either haven't been able to get the vaccine for whatever reason, or are choosing not to, they need to be respectful and wear masks. But I've got to be honest, it appears to me that everyone is not wearing a mask anymore. So I think it's important that we recognize that the Delta variant is up here. We've had a case of it up here, probably more than one. And we need to continue to be vigilant. I know people are tired of it. Gosh, me too. But we've just got to be careful.
That's really sound advice. There's such weariness about this. I felt it myself. I put a mask in my pocket today for the first time in months. And I thought to myself, I got to try to get back in that. To our viewers, I would say the same thing. One of the things that you hear is that, we're not getting consistent guidelines from the CDC, right? And they don't take into consideration something that you just said that's very important, I think, for us to cycle back on, is that the virus mutates. The ball game that we were in 4 months ago is not the same game we're in right now. So there is a shifting emphasis on what kind of information and how. And, it evolves day to day. We're seeing an increase in transmission rates here in the region that we live in. And those are Delta variants, and you're starting to see that uptick. To get ahead of the curve on this, which I think is very important for all of us, is to make certain that we do our best to try to follow the news, follow guidelines from the CDC, and just be proactive about wearing a mask if you know you're going into an indoor setting, a congested setting, or one where you or the people you're with might be particularly vulnerable to getting this virus.
Yeah, I think absolutely, yes. And I would add to that, I've heard from some folks, well, we don't know what to trust, going back on what you said, because the information seems to be changing constantly. That should give you confidence. And let me tell you why. That means that the scientists who are studying this are being 100% transparent, and they're coming out and telling you, all right, this is what we thought. This is why we were wrong. And now we need to look at it this way. This is new. All of this is new. The research is ongoing. So it should give you great confidence when scientific minds who are studying this so closely come forward and say, we've discovered something new. Even if it contradicts what they had said before, they're coming out and saying, now we need to look at it this way. That's tremendously important. Science isn't about politics. Science is about facts. And as we learn new facts, we're pushing them out there, and people should be confident in that.
That's right. Boy, I hope everybody watching this heard what he just said, because that really encapsulates it. It's a moving target. And when it's a moving target, the facts change, they evolve, and that
Right.
the information could be different. Just keep following it and be diligent. All right, Ray, thank you for taking the time. I think we cut into your vacation by a good 10 minutes here. So yeah.
Happy to participate. Thanks for always thinking of us. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, Ray. Okay, be safe, my friend, and I'll see you when you get back.
You as well. Thanks, Jesse.
Okay, bye.